In the town of Montenegro, a village forgotten by time, an ancient legend haunted the residents. They said a black cat with flaming eyes roamed the streets at night, watching over those who dared to disrupt the balance between the living and the dead. It was no mere feline. It was a guardian, cursed to protect a secret no one dared to uncover. Young Helena, skeptical and determined, had always dismissed superstitions. Fascinated by the idea of unraveling old mysteries, she decided to investigate the story of the cat and its supposed curse. Armed with a flashlight and a journal filled with notes from local residents, she ventured into the cobbled streets at dusk, ignoring the elders' warnings as the night progressed. Helena began to notice strange murmurs in the wind. The shadows of trees seemed to move on their own, and at every corner, the glowing eyes of the black cat shimmered in the darkness. She tried to approach, but each time she stepped forward, the feline vanished and reappeared elsewhere. It was guiding her or testing her. When she finally reached the ruins of the village's old chapel, Helena realized that the cat was there, waiting. Upon entering, she felt a biting cold and noticed ancient markings on the stone floor symbols that spoke of a forgotten pact. Before she could decipher them, a whisper filled the air. "You have come too far." ... Helena looked around, her heart racing. The cat advanced toward her, its eyes burning like embers, and in an instant, she was no longer in the present. She felt transported to distant times when the village was prosperous and the chapel housed forbidden rituals. She saw hooded monks, offerings, a sacrifice. The guardian of shadows was no mere myth. It was the last remnant of the sentence that had condemned Montenegro to decay. It protected the village from those who attempted to reveal its secrets, for what was buried there was never meant to see the light of day again. When Helena regained consciousness, the cat was gone, but her journal lay open, and on the last page, a single sentence was scrawled in crooked, aged letters. "Now you know, but knowing comes at a price." And from that night on, the guardian's flaming eyes watched only Helena, waiting, observing, ensuring that its secret was never told. From that night forward, Helena felt something different. The village, which once seemed so small and mundane, now carried a weight she could not ignore. Wherever she went, she felt the guardian's gaze upon her. Sometimes a reflection of yellow eyes in the cafe window. Other times, a distant purr that seemed to blend with the wind. She tried to push the thoughts away, but her curiosity never let her rest. If the cat was protecting an ancient secret, then perhaps there were more clues to uncover. In the local library, she sifted through old records and found mentions of a lost order monks who, according to rumors, dealt with forces beyond human comprehension. And amid the documents, a worn engraving, a black feline sitting beside a hooded man. That night, Helena returned to the chapel, but this time she was not alone. The wind seemed to whisper her name, and as she advanced, shadows moved along the walls as if they had a life of their own. On the abandoned altar, she found an ancient book, its leather cover cracked with age. Upon opening it, a chill ran down her spine. It contained writings about pacts, about guardians chosen to protect secrets that should never be revealed. The pages were filled with warnings and rituals. Some spoke of sacrifices, others of punishments for those who dared to exceed the boundaries of forbidden knowledge. But what truly made her heart stop was the final page, handwritten in trembling script. The chosen never escape. The guardian watches, waits, and when the moment comes, it takes its place. It was then that Helena realized the silence around her had become absolute. She looked around, but she already knew what she would find. The black cat stood there at the chapel entrance, its incandescent eyes fixed on her. And for the first time, Helena understood the true meaning of the curse. She hadn't just discovered a secret. She had crossed a threshold from which no one ever returned. The guardian of shadows had found its successor. Helena's fate was sealed. From that night on, the presence of the black cat became constant, its eyes illuminating a path she did not yet know she was destined to follow. She tried to flee. She took a train to another town, changed her routine, avoided any mention of the old chapel or the texts she had discovered. But it was no use. At every corner, in every shadow cast by the setting sun, there were the flaming eyes of the guardian. The wind carried indecipherable whispers, and her own reflection seemed to show something different in mirrors, as if a part of her was disappearing. On the third night after the discovery, Helena awoke abruptly. Her bed was cold, and her room felt cloaked in suffocating gloom. She sensed movement in the dark corner of the room, and when she turned, there it was. The cat, but this time it was not merely observing. The creature advanced slowly, its eyes glowing with spectral light. Helena felt the air grow dense, and her mind was flooded with ancient images, sacrifices, whispers, pacts that should never have been broken. The guardian was not there to watch over her. It was there to claim her. She tried to scream, but no sound came. The world spun, shadows swirled around her, and then silence died when Montenegro's villagers spoke of her the next morning. They found only her journal atop the desk with a single new entry: the chosen never escape. The guardian watches, waits, and when the moment comes, it takes its place. And that night, a new black cat was seen wandering the village streets. Its eyes burned with a spectral glow, and in its presence, all of Montenegro's secrets remained untouched. The cycle had repeated, and the curse never ends. But what if Helena had not been fully taken by the curse? What if, at the final moment, something inside her had resisted the darkness trying to consume her? That fateful night, as her eyes began to burn and shadows tried to envelop her soul, Helena felt a spark of consciousness. Like an unexpected flicker in the darkness, she remembered a crucial detail from the old manuscripts in the chapel. Guardian did not only choose those who uncovered the secret, it chose those who had a link to the lost order. But Helena was not part of the order. She was an outsider, a piece that did not belong to the eternal cycle of sacrifices. And at that moment, something unexpected happened. The black cat, which had been watching her with incandescent eyes, hesitated. A brief moment, but enough for Helena to regain control. She felt her legs return to her command and, with a superhuman effort, leapt backward, breaking the circle of shadows around her. The silence was shattered by an unnatural sound, like a scream muffled within reality itself. The cat turned sharply, its form flickering as if being torn apart by invisible forces. Its eyes lost their glow for a second, and then, with a final look of warning, it disappeared into the darkness. The chapel collapsed at that moment, as if its purpose had been nullified. Helena ran, never looking back, and only stopped when she reached the village entrance. The sky seemed clearer, the wind less heavy. For the first time in centuries, Montenegro seemed free from its curse. But there was one last detail. The journal she carried was gone, and on the ground of the road, she found a single loose page, written in faded ink. "You escaped this time, but I always wait." What if Helena hadn't completely escaped the curse, but instead discovered a way to manipulate it? After her desperate flight from the chapel and the sudden collapse of the structure, something changed within her. The Guardian's flaming eyes no longer pursued her, but strangely, she felt a new presence, something different, as if a part of the ancient power was now inside her. The next morning, Helena stood before a mirror and noticed that, for a brief moment, her own eyes shimmered with a golden glow. The sense of vigilance that once terrified her was now familiar. And then came the most unsettling realization. She could hear the whispers, the same ones that once seemed incoherent. But now, they made sense. The buried secrets of Montenegro were not just guarded by the cat. They were alive, waiting for someone capable of understanding them. And Helena, by breaking the cycle, had become something new. The shadows that once moved on their own now obeyed her. The wind carried whispers, but not threatening ones. They were whispers of reverence. And the village, unknowingly, now had a new guardian. But Helena did not want to follow the steps of those who came before her. If there was a way to control the power, then perhaps there was a way to break the curse completely. The true mystery was not just surviving the Guardian, it was understanding why it existed. And Helena, with her new eyes and a mind filled with echoes of the past, was about to discover something no one had ever known before. Who created this cycle of the curse, and how it could be destroyed. And then one final question lingered in. The heir, was the Guardian of Shadows truly a curse, or a protection against something even worse?